Here in the United States, February is Black History Month, which means that it's that time of year when the Tuskegee Airmen always seem to pop back up into the public discourse.
That's right, and for good reason. Today we're here at the World War II Memorial in Washington, D.C. The Tuskegee Airmen were America's first African-American combat pilots, and they served with distinction in Europe.
The second ship was me, and two Crockwolves came on my right. I turned right and put up a stone wall of bullets.
I have to admit that I don't really know that much about their combat record, and since African Americans were rarely ever assigned to combat operations in World War II, I think it's fair to ask just how good they really were. I mean, how much combat did they really see?
That's a fair question, and to answer that, we're going to introduce you to a friend and fellow wargamer who's been doing research on the topic for the past year.
All right, Brian, let's move those German jets.
All right, the jets are going to come in for a high-speed rear attack.
Tuskegee Airmen, they get to react. All right, well, score another victory for the Tuskegee Airmen. Here in this scenario, I'm Mark, and this is Brian. We're wargamers in Northern Virginia and friends of Little Wars TV. And we have both been doing a lot of work about the Tuskegee Airmen. Besides being a wargamer, I'm a TV producer for PBS, and I just finished a little short documentary. And Brian has written a whole bunch of historical Check Your Six scenarios for the Tuskegee Airmen. And this one, Brian, I think is one of the most famous ones, right?
Yeah, so this is an engagement over Berlin right at the end of the war. And the Tuskegee Airmen shot down 3 Me-262 jets in this battle,
Wow.
which was quite a feat because the jets were very tough.
Yeah.
And the Tuskegee Airmen were on a bomber escort mission, escorting formations of
Right.
B-17 bombers.
The question we're trying to answer is, were the Tuskegee Airmen that good? And you think, well, they shot down 3 jets. That can't be too bad. What did you find in your research when you were doing these historical battles?
So I might mention there is a book called The Black Knights that's a good document on both the training and the missions the Tuskegee Airmen performed in World War II. They predominantly did bomber escort missions. They also did some ground attack. They supported the Anzio landings in Italy, providing air cover for the amphibious landings there. And the Tuskegee Airmen really didn't have any of the, the great aces of World War II, but that wasn't really their niche or their mission that they were assigned to do. It was really escorting the bombers in and out of their target zones and keeping as many of them safe as possible.
And what I found in my documentary is that American bomber crews actually started to request the Tuskegee Airmen later in the war because they had a reputation of not abandoning the bombers. Here's a clip from my documentary.
And I remember one day we were coming back from Ploesti and we were pretty well shot up. And they had the 99th Squadron escorting us. And the 99th Squadron is composed of all blacks. And there were a lot of people that would say that the blacks were incapable of being good soldiers. Well, that's nonsense, because these blacks were superb. And I remember when they appeared and we saw them from a distance, we didn't know whether they were enemy planes or our planes. And then the leader of the squadron, of the black 99th group, waggled his wings to indicate that he was a friend. And he said to us, "Hang on, white boy." He says, "I'll take you home."
What do you think the legacy is for the Tuskegee Airmen, at least from your perspective, Brian?
Well, certainly the reputation has grown over the years, and there's not very many of them still alive today, and they're kind of all recognized as heroes nowadays.
Be sure to watch our Check Your Six rule review if you want to learn about a great set of rules for World War II air combat. And to watch Mark's Tuskegee Airmen documentary, go to PBS Learning Media. Link in the description below.